Matt, I've known you for a long time.
Yes.
And you seem to be a guy that likes free speech. Is that true? Do you like free speech?
Yep. Yes, I do.
Tell me just all the reasons you like free speech. I just want to start there because this is going to be fun. Just to be clear, I am setting a trap for you right now.
Yeah, I know. That's cute. That's adorable.
So go ahead. Tell me all the reasons why it's so important and why you believe in all. You're an absolutist in free speech and all this. Tell me all the things.
First of all, because it's a negative right. A positive right is, well, I don't believe positive rights exist. A positive right is when someone else has to do something for you to have a thing. A negative right is your birthright by being a human, no questions asked. So if you want to make sounds with your mouth, you don't need anybody else for that. You own your face, you own your body, you can make sounds with your mouth. It's a negative right. So another negative right would be like basic freedom of movement, basic self-ownership of expression, things like that.
What do you mean negative? Well, what does the negative mean in negative right?
Not negative like bad, negative like it's a right no one has to do anything to give you. You just have it. So free speech.
Oh, so it doesn't have to be enforced.
So for example, the idea of everyone having free internet is a nice Gene Roddenberry-esque idea. And I would love for everybody to have internet. And if you can find a way to just make that happen, I think market solutions are the best. Other people think you should tax people, take the money, redistribute it to make internet happen for everyone. Whatever. We want the same thing. Everybody has access to information. We disagree about the best sustainable way to get it. But when somebody says internet is a human right, well, hold on a minute. That means it's inalienable and undeniable. And it means that if nobody volunteered to go and make internet, if it's a human right, you would need to force someone to make internet for everyone or force someone to pay for internet for everyone. Whereas freedom of speech is a qualitatively different kind. I mean, it's an actual right because you don't have to do anything to anybody to have it. No one has to participate. It's your birthright by nature of existence.
Okay. So when it comes to free speech, what are the limits on free speech? Do you think there should be limits on the right to free speech?
Almost.
Again, I'm setting a trap.
Almost none. I can conceive of a situation where deceit would be used to intentionally hurt somebody in a tangible, physical, measurable way. At times, even very old, very liberty-minded courts have upheld that using speech to intentionally hurt somebody doesn't work. So, for example, in sort of this classical liberal free market approach to things, and that's what I am a liberal in this regard, the government refs. So I would have the ability to sue someone else for lying about a contract that we made together, saying that a certain thing would be provided, but then that wasn't true at all. And now I can file not a criminal suit, but a civil suit to say that's a breach of contract. Another negative right, of course, is the right to associate. If you can convince anybody else to hang out with you or make a deal with you, you have the right to do that, and it's not other people's business.
So you're saying that you can choose to not interact with a human, is what you're saying. And if they're sitting there yelling at you, you can just choose to not participate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Was that part of the trap?
Yeah, that's part of the trap. I was hoping you were going to say like, oh yeah, you should be able to say whatever you want, whenever you want, blah blah blah. But you didn't go there, so you have avoided my trap. Because what I want to do is, I'm just giddy thinking about this.
Great.
I've got. Can you pull up your YouTube channel real quick? Can you do me a favor and pull up your YouTube channel?
Yes.
Just tell me what you think about the comment section. Tell me about the comment section.
Okay, I'm pulling up my YouTube channel at this time.
Do people behave in your comment section all the time?
I think people behave better on my comment section than they do on most.
Okay.
I don't know. Sometimes people behave like absolute idiots on my comments.
I love this. I love this because you're so uncomfortable. So if you'll go to your community tab on YouTube Studio.
Oh, we're going there. Okay, I'm going into the studio. Here we go.
People that have YouTube channels have access to this do not allow list where you can write things in the do not allow list. And if somebody writes a comment on your YouTube section, like or on your comment section, and there's this one guy that for some reason he always talks about Hot Wheels in your YouTube comment section.
Yeah, that would be the problem. That's the kind of thing I would definitely want to put an end to.
I'm just using an example. It's just some term, if there's some term that's in your comment section and it just keeps coming up over and over and over, we have the ability as YouTube channel owners in the community tab under settings, there's this whole little thing here that says blocked words. And what I would love for you to do, Matt, is if you're willing, will you just read me like the first 10 things in your blocked words list?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, do it. Yeah. Just read them. Go.
All right. Here we go.
We can edit. Yeah, go.
Okay. Kill yourself. Ancestry.com.
You misspelled it. Okay, that's good. That's good. Stop. Matt, stop. Is that not hilarious?
Bald. Why did I block that? Somebody must have kept calling me that. It's on my list.
Oh God, isn't it fun? So I realized the other day I went back and I had to add a word, and like there was an individual that was saying something about one of the guests that I had on a Smarter Everyday video, and it was rude and just bad. And I was like, well, crap, I've got to eliminate this particular word because this person just keeps coming up. And as I added that word to the blocked words list, I was like, I should just go back and look at some of these words that I wrote in here. And dude, they are hilarious. Like I have so many, what's so interesting is I have so many bad words and I have so many misspelled bad words in this list.
I've got 5 different ways to spell orifice on my list. One of them's right.
I have
ORIFISS.
I have the word testicle misspelled. TESTICAL. Testicle. I have Russian bad words in here.
Oh wow.
I have several different ways to spell a word that means excreting a particular fluid from the body.
Sure.
I have a lot of stuff in here, dude.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 different mother.
Do you really?
Wow. I really thought about that, apparently.
Yeah. So I just, wait, let's see. Do you have the one that's MUTHA? Mother?
Mother? Let me check.
Yeah.
I would hope
I've got
so.
that
Where
one.
else?
I've got 5. Well, see, we actually shared lists at one time.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, it's alphabetized. Yeah, I have 5 of those that start with MUTHA.
There's a lot of racial slang. So what's the deal here, man? Like I don't know. I just thought this would be interesting because you have a similar experience. So we want to have a discussion on the internet. Let's say you want to, tour a church and make a video about it.
Yes.
Why do you end up having to make a list of all these words so that people aren't being idiots in the comment section? Isn't that interesting? And I would argue.
I don't mind people being idiots in the comment section. Sorry, go ahead and make your argument. What you would argue?
So what's the deal with people being idiots in the comment section? What's going on there?
Well, I don't care if people are idiots in the comment section. I'm not troubled by that at all. What I don't want to happen is really one of two things. I don't want somebody to just be so horrible that they turn someone else into a monster. I don't want my YouTube channel to be the place where people got activated for whatever cause, for whatever thing. Did you ever see that video that, I can't remember the dude's name now. He was a part of the Canadian comedy troupe, Whitest Kids You Know. Trevor, I can't quite pull it. He did a video called The Ballad of Billy Joe or something like that. You don't recognize what I'm talking about?
No.
It's so offensive, I don't even want people to go and listen because all of the band words are in it. What happens in the video is very funny. It's just a guitar ballad that he plays on stage. And there's an old lady and her old husband, and they're retired, and they go out to the little work shed, and they turn on the computer. And, well, no, he starts playing the guitar, and she's like, you're actually really good at the guitar. And he hadn't played it. Now he retired, and he got it back out. And his fingers turned back to the nimble fingers of a young man, and he played a beautiful song. And she thought, you know what? I'm going to put that on the internet. And then she does, and then the lead up to the chorus is, and then she went and read the comments, and this is what she saw. And you can guess what the comments are. I mean, they're just unbelievable, and he sings them all. And then what happens is she goes on to defend him in the next verse, as I recall. And then people say...
Oh, she engages.
She engages. And then people say...
Yeah.
Oh, amazing things to this sweet old lady who's trying to stick up for her husband that just doesn't understand how the internet is. So then, he's like, I don't care. I'm just putting away my guitar. But then he can't help it. He sneaks in one night to see what they said about his wife. And then he loses it. And he uses the exact same words that the people on the internet had used on him that hurt him so much because he's so mad about what they did to his wife. And then the song wraps up with something like, and right then and there, the internet lost a kind man named Billy Bob, and it got another whatever the name of the troll was who was brutalizing him. And so it feels like you're just in on the joke. Ha, 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 ha. That's funny. I could see the internet saying that. But the song really sensitively, and the guy who wrote this passed away at a young age recently, but you think you're joking along with how bad the internet is, and then you realize, no, he's telling the story of how the things you do on the internet turn people into something darker. They take them to a dark place, and then it changes the way you think about people, and there's a consequence to that. And it's really a very tender, very meaningful song that no one should ever go and watch or listen to because of the excruciatingly painful language throughout.
So what is the thing that I should not Google to go find that?
Yeah, you would not want to Google The Ballad of Billy John by Trevor Moore from his comedy show High in Church on Comedy Central. It really is. Like if you see your kids starting to Google that, if you're looking over their shoulders, you see that in their search history.
Just like don't slap the computer away.
Want to shut that down. Yeah, do something. That's the only reason I tell people the name of it is so they can watch out for it.
So they know to not watch it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I also have some other things in my blocked words list that I'm finding here. There are some really, really silly things. It's usually one of two things. Terms that people would use if they're obviously trying to derail a productive conversation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of sexualized words in my do not allow list or the blocked words list. But the one that I have found that I've added most recently are ways to protect people that I'm interviewing on the videos. Yeah, because I know a person that was interviewing someone recently that their hand shook, for example. Mm-hmm. And you have a YouTube channel with hundreds of videos, and you interview this one person this one time, so they're going to go read the comments of the video that they're in.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
And so if you see something like that, and in those first 2-3 hours of a video going up, if you can see a pattern, and you say, oh, they're saying a term that's like, oh, look how shaky that person is, or look how whatever. Mm-hmm. Will you go ahead and add that term to your your blocked words list to protect that individual? Do you do things like that as well?
Yeah.
Because I do.
And I'm not going to say what words I added because people will go back and watch my videos and try to figure out what imagined deficiency people I interviewed had. But yeah, I've added some terms that, sure enough, right away they trended. Others I just anticipated, like somebody's going to be mean about this. I know, for example, theology. I know the different schools and subgroups and subcultures of theological religious conversation. I know what they're going to be bent out of shape about. And I know that if they make a comment like this, it will be productively critical. But I also know that if they invoke this particular thing, they're trying to just pick a fight and go ad hominem with a person who is brave enough and kind enough to go on camera and tell me what they believe about something because I asked them to. They didn't come to me ever in my videos and be like, put me on your thing so I can say the things about myself. Everybody I've interviewed is humble, never even thought to ask for that. And I went to them and said, I'm curious about you. I think we're different. Would you tell me about you? And I feel like I owe them some degree of protection. And sometimes I find myself adding words that protect women from features that are honestly probably flattering about them. Like, it's not just negative features. Sometimes I feel like, look, I just don't want a bunch of vultures going and saying crap about a lady who might have a flattering feature or two who comes on my channel from time to time. So it's not just even protecting people from their apparent or imagined flaws. It's also looking out for them, just kind of being objectified in ways that I don't think are kind, and I don't want them to have to go through because they don't do a lot of internet.
Right. I've done the same thing, and I interviewed a particular individual, and I went back and I was like, okay, clearly this is an obvious feature of this person, and so I went and I added all the words I could think of, all of them, and I did not think of them all. And so I know, right? And so I was like, man, I wrote all those, and then these two terms that I didn't think about, they got through. And so it's embarrassing. And it distracts. And I think that the troll nature of the internet is just kind of a thing that people like to do for some reason. And so here's a question. By the way, I'm just reading, I'm gently scrolling through the list as we talk. How many words would you say? It looks like I have around 500
yeah, I think
terms.
Comfortably that. I've got a bunch of websites that I don't want people to go to as I'm scrolling through it as well. And then just a bunch of obvious features about me physically that I don't want people to fixate on. Like
got it.
Pop shoulders, swole, ripped.
Yeah.
All of
six
these
pack.
different things. Like six pack, sure. Yeah.
I'm just going to randomly...
I just don't want to be objectified anymore.
I'm just going to randomly read a term that's in my list here for you. Are you ready?
Just the fact that you rolled with that. Yes, I'm ready.
Penis breath. It's hyphenated.
That's from E.T. That's the quote from a harmless 80s movie, a beloved 80s movie.
Is that in that movie?
Yes, and my parents disciplined me for hearing it in a movie they took me to and paid for.
Okay,
I didn't want to see E.T. I didn't know what it was. They took me to E.T. Elliot calls somebody else penis breath, and right there in the middle of the theater, Matthew. Now, I do not ever want to hear that kind of language. You took me to this movie. I never even thought of that.
You're not allowed to talk about why you're laughing. Can't do that. This episode is sponsored by HelloFresh.
Yes, it is.
And HelloFresh is awesome. And are you going steak this month? Is that
I'm
what you're
going
thinking?
steak every month.
Okay.
Camilla's like, what do you want to do on the HelloFresh? And she runs through the options. I'm like, sweetie,
I'm sorry.
You knock yourself out, but it's going to be like, my answer is always going to be steak. Just find something, anything with steak, and have them make up some new and unpredictable flavor that I've never tried before. And I'm just going to jam my steak into the new flavor sauce. I'm going to eat it and I'm going to love it. That's all you got to do to make me happy. Do whatever we want.
The consistency of the flavor sauce is being amazing. Why are we calling them flavor?
I don't know, because we're not chefs, and yet we can make food as though we are, thanks to HelloFresh. See what I did there?
All right. So If you want to try HelloFresh, which is America's #1 meal kit delivery service, you can do that by going to HelloFresh.com/NDQ65. And the promo code is NDQ65. Matt, would you like to explain why there are numbers in the promo code? Because there's a reason.
Well, I understand the N and the D and the Q part. I'm almost 100% sure. But then I feel like that 65, like it might have something to do with the percent off that you get.
That's it. Man, you're smart, dude. Yeah, if you do that code, NDQ65, you get 65% off plus free shipping. That's a lot off. That's more than half. That's 15% more than half, actually. That's 65.
Are you working really, really hard to pass some sort of mathematics exam right now? Because I just feel like you see the matrix right now in ways that normal people just couldn't.
I actually am, dude. And you know that. And I'm doing a lot of math these days. I'm doing a really big test, and the math is very, very hard. It's a lot of Diffie-Q. And there's this thing I'm trying to memorize. It's a method to find the particular solution of a second-order differential equation. It's called the Wronskian method. It's pretty elegant. You take the Wronskian of a matrix. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I'm not kidding me. If you had just asked me, cold, Matt, what is the Wronskian method? I think I would have gone with like something.
Some kind of childbirthing thing.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was going to go with. That it's like a style of childbirthing where like you use a little kiddie pool or something with warm water in there, or like you have coaches and they yell at you, or like, or maybe I would have guessed some like educational method that they use in very harsh schools. But you're telling me it's some kind of math thing to figure out some kind of math thing with words I don't know. So as the math expert between us, having been in the study hole for weeks, is this 65% off thing, is that a good deal?
Yeah, that's good. That's way more than half. And so you should try it. If you want to try a HelloFresh,
it's the worst segue to my life.
This is the worst segue.
It stays.
Okay, HelloFresh, thank you for sponsoring the podcast. Just that's all I've got to say. Yeah, HelloFresh is awesome. You should check it out. Tasty food delivered straight to your house. The math works. There's all kinds of studies about how much it costs to go out to eat versus how much it costs to bring food into your house. And HelloFresh is actually on the right side of the equation. It's actually, in some cases, cheaper than just normally going to get your groceries. You got to factor in gas and all that stuff. This comes to your house, and it's awesome. The recipe cards are amazing. You learn stuff, and that's great.
And also, I've been experiencing this thing lately. I've been talking with my kids about seasonal things, seasonal colors, seasonal feel. We've just been discussing, why did the seasons feel different and why is that fun? And one of their answers was food. And I thought, that is true. And I don't really understand why. Someone at HelloFresh understands why, because they're doing all of this seasonal stuff. That means you can order whatever season it is type of food, and then you get that feel, that robust experience of the right time of year, and somebody else solves that equation for you. And I like that very much.
Yeah, give it a shot. Even if it's just for an experiment for your family, consider it. HelloFresh.com/NDQ65. If you use the promo code NDQ65, you get 65% off plus free shipping.
Yeah, try using some of that sweet 65% off money on something different and seasonal that you've never tried before. See if it does the same thing for you that it does for us, where it makes you feel more like you're in that time of year.
Absolutely. Big thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring the podcast, and thanks to you for supporting the sponsors. Okay, got it. So you've got some great words. I've got some great words. But you did say that you have this list for 2 reasons. The first one's obvious. What is the second reason?
Yeah, well, I guess it's actually getting up to 3 reasons now per your feedback. Reason number 1 is the Ballad of Billy John thing. I just don't want people to become activated on my channel. I don't want them to become bitter, cynical, enraged, and broken internet people. And I really do think we live in an era of chaos where the digital feedback that we give each other and that we receive is screwing us up. I think it's messing with humanity and damaging our hearts and brains in a way that we don't want to admit, but that we all feel, especially those of us who remember what life felt like before it. There's awesome stuff here, as we've discussed. The internet's great, but also dang, it's screwing with us in weird ways. So one, I don't want my channel to be the place where people become activated and enraged. Thing number two that you brought up that I guess I hadn't thought about, but is very true, is protecting your guests.
Right.
I keep adding words to look out for people who are brave enough to come on and talk with me about things. And that's just hospitality, right? Like if somebody comes over to the house and the kids say something even innocently that is derogatory toward your guest, you would correct the kid, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
The third reason is every time I put out a video, I put a crap ton of work into that. It does not take a crap ton of work to come and make a lazy comment that takes something that is clearly meant to steer things or to initiate a conversation in a certain direction. It doesn't take much to derail that completely and absolutely wreck it. And people always want to try. Sometimes I'll let that run for a while. Other times my rationale is just, nah, you didn't earn it. You didn't do anything. The effort and the energy that made people come here to this particular video, to this particular comment section, was energy directed at this topic and this stuff. And oftentimes, the things that I want to catch in my filter might even be things I really like, issues I'm passionate about too. But if I'm not making videos about that kind of content on my channel, I don't really want the conversation to go in that direction. It's to prevent hijacking so that we can have nice things. Do you have the same mentality, or with a channel of a larger size, are you okay with it kind of just running where it runs?
Yeah, I can't do that. So for the same reasons, I don't know, there's this certain minority of people, like a very small percentage of people that just want to troll and they just want to break things. So this is kind of where I'm at mentally now. Earlier in the whole YouTube thing, I used to read all the comments, and clearly that was not sustainable. But I would carefully consider what everybody said, and I would consider responding, and usually didn't. But more recently, every once in a while, I would go through the comment section, and if someone's clearly trying to derail anything, or they're just a jerk, even if they're right, they might say, like, I think this, and blah, blah, blah. They might be correct. I'll just say, hey, hide their comments from the channel. Just hide it, because I don't want to associate with mean people. You can be right and kind. You can also be right and rude. You can disagree and be pleasant about it. I am attracted to those people. I want conversations with people that disagree with me but are thoughtful and respectful and things like that. But I will, I kind of, in a moment of resignation, I just kind of gave up. I'm just right-click, hide user comments from channel. Right-click, hide user comments from channel. And I don't know what that says about me. A younger Destin would have said, like, well, I respect everybody's ability to have input and to say things, and, I don't want to suppress one view or the other. And I've kind of made the decision, I'm not going to suppress anybody's views, but I am going to suppress the way people communicate. If you watched that 30-minute video and the thing you thought to say at the end of that video is how this one person, you don't like this about them, then clearly you're not healthy, and you're going to say other things in the future.
But you could miss on that. Like, you could make the determination from one comment, you're not healthy, and you could be wrong. Like, maybe they caught something or just interpreted something that you felt was really clear.
You're absolutely right.
And they actually are healthy. And the act of a shadow ban on YouTube, it's pretty final. I don't know about you, but I never go back and check that again. I give people like 2 comments to pull it back together. And if I realize they're not pulling it back together, we're done here. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I wish there was a way. I don't know. It's a scale problem, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you go through the comments and make that decision? Because I guess the way I said it kind of sounded more flippant, like, all right, if I see it, you're done. You're dead to me. It's usually the pretty egregious ones, right? So
very much. I'm just
going.
Yeah, I got real close yesterday, for example. I did a video. It's a very complex theological topic. I get it. It's one that casts a long shadow theologically, but back-to-back videos, really 3 videos in a row, on who bears responsibility for the execution of Jesus. In the Middle Ages, there were Christians, there were Europeans who were like, it was the Jews. And so bad things happened to Jews with that as a rationale. Also, countless good things happened to Jews from other Christians who read the Bible more properly and realized that the values of Jesus' kingdom mean that you treat people a certain way in agreement and in disagreement. So I don't want to use a broad brush on Christians. Thanks for letting me do that little disclaimer. But I made this video to just say, look, I mean, according to Christian theology, it's not even really the right question. Physically, the executioners killed Jesus. Politically, Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor, signed the order. Clearly, the religious leadership who were rivals of Jesus are the ones who set the whole thing in motion and made sure that he got executed. But the Bible teaches that what Jesus did there wasn't political. He went to the cross for a theological reason, according to Christian tradition and thought, that you got like all the problems of humanity, and then he goes to the cross, and that is the justice. That is the satisfaction of God's righteous justice for all the evil, and that Jesus takes on the sins of fallen humanity in that regard, sins that individuals could never pay for themselves. It's basic Christianity. So my argument was, surprise, it's not really the right question because you can't really pin this on anybody. You got to kind of pin it on everybody who's ever got anything wrong. Whether you think the Bible's true or not, that's what the Bible teaches. Well, you can guess what I got. A bunch of people came in and they were like, I'm Spartacus. I mean, you remember that reference, right? Like where everybody's trying to hide the identity of their leader by saying they are that same leader. Well, the same thing happened. A bunch of people came in. They're like, I crucified Jesus. It was me. Jesus is nailed to the cross because of me and my sins. That's a theologically correct Christian response within the context of Christianity. A few other people came in and are like, yeah, I don't like Jews. What?
They said that in the comment?
They said that. Like, who the heck still thinks crap like that? Did you hear about
that's
like,
not
human
real
history?
Do you think that's real? You think that's a real comment?
I've never met anyone
I haven't either
who actually thinks that and has admitted to me or told me or even hinted that they like anti-Semitism continues to be one of the most baffling things for me ever. I just absolutely don't get it. And
so I think that's a troll. Like, I think that's an individual that just wants to see things burn. And so what do you do with that?
Well, I engaged.
You engaged?
Yeah, I did. I responded the way I respond to anything that is just absolutely morally run afoul, and just inarguably that ain't going to work. So like the wholesale dismissal of an entire ethnic group, I want that to go checked. I want someone to address it. And when I see that, I respond with one word, gross. And I give them a chance to fix it because they got called out in front of everybody. Sometimes people delete their comment. Sometimes people do nothing. Sometimes people double down. And for whatever reason, this dude doubled down and like told me that I wasn't engaging in good internet conduct, that I should have been nicer about his anti-Semitism. And I responded again. I was like, you don't get to tell me how to respond to you saying you don't like an entire people group. No, I stand by my original comment. Gross. And then whoever this individual was went back and I guess watched the whole video because they hadn't done that yet. And they're like, yeah, I owe you an apology. So it ended on a really good note. Engaging that time around caused the person to say, yeah, it was a flippant remark. It was an angry remark. It was stupid. I shouldn't have said it. I owe you and everybody an apology. So it's a nice ending on that one. But
wow,
usually
that is.
Engaging doesn't get a nice ending.
That's an interesting concept. So there's all kinds of things that must happen in a comment section if there's any kind of, constructive conversation that's going to happen. For example, auto-moderating words, right? Mm-hmm. Also, what these platform owners do, like YouTube, Facebook, I'm assuming, is they see, hey, has this person's comments been banned on a bunch of other videos, for example? That's a signal. I'm just assuming this is what I would do. That's a signal of, hey, this person is a troll, They have to have some kind of troll score. But you just said something that's very interesting. What if you were to have a ranking system and you are allowed to comment only after watching like 75% of the video.
Oh, we talked about that with Barnaby Dixon, right? When he was on? I
don't
think
remember.
I heard him propose that. Maybe I heard it somewhere else. But
Is that where he
one
said
of the
it? Okay.
One of the biggest problems I run into on my channel is people who clearly didn't watch the video and run to comment. So, for example, on this last video where I was making the point, racism is stupid, racism against Jews is stupid, trying to assign some sort of eternal ethnic guilt for the decision that a minority of Jewish people 2,000 years ago made, that it looks like probably God wanted them to make. You can't. It's irrational. It's cruel. It's stupid. The correct response when seeing Jesus on the cross is to reflect on yourself, not go judge everybody else. But there was a punchline to the video, right? The first 2/3 of the video are going through the rejected options for who bears responsibility for Jesus. And clearly, the worst comments were people who got through one or two of those points, didn't get to the demonstrated, biblically backed conclusion to my point, and just went and said the things they wanted to say. If there was a 75% cutoff, that would have changed everything. Also, if I knew there was a 75% mandatory watch time before you can comment on one of my videos, that would create a feedback loop wherein I would make my videos very different, including possibly being tighter on points and making sure I get to my concluding point, the punchline, before that 3/4 mark.
Interesting. It's a hard problem. It's like you have countermeasures in place, and there are countermeasures. It escalates very much like weaponry does. Person A develops this method, person B develops a countermeasure, person A again develops a workaround. So I don't know. I think it's fascinating. If you don't mind, do this for me. You still have your YouTube studio pulled up there?
Yeah, I do.
Go down to comments on the far left for your whole channel, not just one video.
Ooh, okay.
And then it pulls up this tab. It says channel comments and mentions. And then there's two things there. There's published and held for review. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Do me a favor. And so on your published ones, it shows you which videos have been commented on most recently. What video is most recent for you?
A couple of videos about who bears responsibility for the death of Jesus, like we've been talking about.
Okay, for me, it's how does a carburetor work, the transparent carburetor video, and boarding a Navy submarine, and there's a Prince Rupert's drop one, and some other stuff in there. So you can kind of get a feel for like what videos people are watching, or let's put it this way, what videos the algorithm is serving up to people.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I always know. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so now click on that held for review tab.
That's the forbidden tab, Destin. I make quite the effort not to click on this tab.
That's a good point.
I feel like I'm going to click on it and my face is going to melt like all of the bad guys at the end of Indiana Jones. But I'm going to do it.
The reason you say that, just to be clear, is because we take positive feedback and we take negative feedback from the audience. And that one negative comment is the one you're going to remember, right?
Well, yeah, and it's just, these are where the dumpster fire comments go. It's not just that people criticize me. That happens a lot in comments that don't get taken down. And you're allowed to criticize me, harshly even. But the held for review stuff that I still haven't clicked on, it's a different tenor, usually. The words that land you there are words that only get used if you are wanting to do damage to someone else, even if you believe it is righteously motivated.
That's what I thought too. That's what
interesting.
Thought, past tense. That's why I want you to click on it, because what I wanted to do here with this episode is I wanted to have a minute. And what's so fun is people that only listen to the first half of this podcast, they're going to think I'm a closed-minded punk. But the people that got to this point in the podcast are going to be like, oh, he's got a moment of self-reflection, and there's a negative feedback for self-improvement. So click on the held for review tab.
Okay.
And every once in a while I go over here and I'm like, okay, are my blocked words too harsh? Like, are they too tight? And so the first comment I'm seeing here is on a video. Well, the comment was from Magic Pickle, and it was written 4 minutes ago. And it says, I know someone was having fun with the After Effects Premiere part where the bubble oscillation was happening in Destin's hands.
Huh.
And it says, blocked words. And I don't know what word was blocked. Like, I don't know what was written in there that was bad. So it says it blocked it because of blocked words, but maybe, okay, there's a slash in there. Oh, maybe there's a forward slash.
Yep. Yep. Because I have https:// on mine.
Okay.
Because I simply don't want to go through and examine every single link that people throw on my channel. So, yeah, if your list is like mine, I want links to go for review or to just go away, or for people to point someone generally in a direction and let them go look.
Yeah. The next comment, I'm glad is blocked. It says something about my children, and that stinks. Okay, so I'm glad that's blocked. The comment after that, let's see. Here's a nice one. Let's see. Here's a kind comment where someone's trying to say something nice. Dear sir, I'm watching your videos for a long time. All your videos are informative and interesting. Thank you so much for making them. And then they make a request about what they would like to see in the comment. And somewhere in here, they said one of the words that got filtered out. And so my point is my filter too tight? And how do I fix this?
Right. I am listening to you, but obviously you told me to go and...
All right, what's the first one on yours? What's the first?
Through this.
What's the first held for review comment?
It is an incoherent, rambling mess against Jews and arguing that sub-Saharan Africans are the true Jewish race and that their blood is impure. It's an absolute disaster of a comment on 100 different levels, ethnically, theologically, and historically, and I'm banning this person forever.
It sounds like it worked. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It worked there.
What's the second one?
Okay, the next one is somebody who has strong opinions about the literal nature of the
by the
Sabbath
way,
command.
I'm going to go ahead and the person that said something about the kiddos. Yeah, I just nuked them. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
The next one is from somebody who has really strong feelings about the Sabbath being something that should be celebrated on Saturdays and the enormous wrongness of people who don't celebrate it right. And I don't know. It's not awful. I don't know why it got caught. Oh, yeah, they included several links to prove their rightness. It's fine. The comment's fine. It's myopic. It's from a thought bubble, but it's absolutely fine. The next one is I totally disagree with them in their theological take on this particular issue from this particular video, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with the comment other than I just disagree. I have no idea why it got caught. I am approving that one. Okay. Some nice person named Ross said, pretty much everything you're a part of on the internet is super dope. Why would I want that to get caught? What is also dope is that Ironwood Rhino hat. How might one acquire such a hat? Oh, approve.
Is it the word dope? Is that in your list?
Maybe. Why would I ban? I don't know. Oh, dude, you know what it is?
What?
Oh, I need to go fix this. I went to an Orthodox church and an Anglican church, and in both of them, I wore a hat in parts of the building. I wore a hat as I walked into the lobby of the one church with the permission of the local clergy, by the way. He's like, no, wear it. That's fine. It makes you look all the more like you're somebody who's just walking in off the street. No, go ahead and wear it. So I did that, and then we sat down for the interview at an Anglican church. And Nate, who helps me film stuff, was like, your head's really shiny today, which can happen. I don't understand the physics of it, but it can happen. And the priest was like, just throw your hat on that you were wearing out in the parking lot. And we were both like, whoa, people got really mad last time I wore it, like 3 steps into a building. He's like, yeah, it's my church. Wear the hat. It's absolutely fine. So I put the hat on. And then I got annihilated, particularly by Eastern Europeans for the first one, where hat wearing indoors is not viewed the way it is viewed in Western Wyoming, where it's relatively normative to wear a ball cap inside. Finally, I was like, the stupid hat is ruining the comment section entirely. I'm just banning hat and cap until this video settles down. And I never went and fixed it. And now, like, the word hat is catching stuff. I'm fine if people want to use the word hat. That's really funny.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes. This guy says, yeah, but why is there a rat on your hat? I don't know what hat I was wearing, but it apparently looked like a rat. Huh. What's the secret message of the backward message on Matt's hat? I'm an idiot. I was blocking people's comments for using the word hat, like a Dr. Seuss level word.
Because
no, but this one should be banned. Somebody said my hat makes me look like Fred Durst. And you know what? You never get to comment on the internet ever again. You're done. I did that all for the nookie.
I thought this would be interesting. Looking into this and giving some negative feedback to ourselves. All right, let me read another one here in mine. Okay, you guys call them weed eaters, holy. Okay, they're just using foul language. That's a problem. I'd be afraid to even breath on anything. It's a dumb comment, but I don't understand. I'm not afraid to even breath on anything. What? Why is that banned?
I don't know.
It says blocked words, but I don't know why. What if you
mine
accidentally...
just caught something here the same way. I don't understand what would be blocked. This person said, they just have a typo. As a Catholic, I appreciate your no space, open heart, and lack of preconceived bias. God bless you. That is a wonderfully kind comment, but maybe YouTube
is treating it as a website?
Some kind of URL or... Yeah, it was blue. It's hyperlinked.
Anyway, was this interesting to you at all?
The point is, I'm somewhat satisfied with the performance of my auto mod that I've built here, the word filter, but a bunch of things that really would have contributed nicely to the conversation or that were offered in goodwill just got absolutely nuked. I wonder how many people I may have accidentally triggered toward the things I don't want people to become by making them feel like I looked personally at their comment and killed it, and their comment was completely innocent and kind, or how many people who made comments that vehemently disagree with my understanding of things but are totally appropriate, yet for no reason got flagged. Like, how many of them go around and are more angry at the internet now because they conceive of my censorship as being an intentional thing targeting them because they disagreed with me or something. This is not a perfect system, and in not thinking it through, I think I have wronged some people of goodwill.
I've done the same thing. I don't know how to fix it. I mean, every once in a while I'll go back in here and see if I've overreached with my list. There's an element of collateral damage that I am bringing to the table in an attempt to make the comment section more healthy. And I don't really know what to do about that. So I think the only thing I can do at this point is go through these and figure out, oh my goodness, here's a person that wrote a huge comment, absolutely huge comment, but it says blocked words. So there's a word somewhere in this 5-paragraph comment that's on the list. I'll have to go back and figure out what it is. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. You're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. You want to promote healthy conversation, and a lot of the times that means removing unhealthy conversation. But in an attempt to do that, because it's probabilistic and not deterministic, we end up with overreach, and that's not okay. So I don't know what to do. I just wanted to bring this up and see what your thoughts were on this. All right, so speaking of this exam that I've been working on, you know what I've been using to study for the exam?
Amphetamines.
No. No, not at all. I don't do drugs of any sort.
That's why it was funny.
Raycons. I use Raycons to study for my exam that's coming up. And the way I do that is I connect the Raycons to my laptop, and I just watch. I found this professor in Texas. He's a great teacher. Dr. Hansen's his name. And he has taught me how to learn these, mechanics and materials things that I'm working on. And I don't know, his brain just clicks with mine. And so I'll get on YouTube in the library. I actually go to the library to study. There's a big thing up there that says no cell phones. You got to be quiet and all that. So I pop in the Raycons. I watch Dr. Hansen. I work a problem out with him. And then, I don't know, when you study, do you like to go to a place and study, or can you pretty much study anywhere? I have to focus, I found.
If I can study with audio only, which is what I've been doing lately with my Persia work, man, I am fishing. I go to super remote mountains. I put in the audio. I retain tons of it. And I just say hello to fish along the way. And I've been using this feature on the Raycons that we found out about, 6 months or a year ago, that awareness mode feature. So nice when you're fishing, because you still feel like you're in the brook with the fish. And also you can still hear what's going on with ancient Persia, if you're me.
That's awesome. I'm listening to audiobooks when I'm not studying. Or if I'm working outside or something like that, I'm listening to audiobooks. So using my hands, using the Raycons to learn, using the Raycons to study. It's been a huge game changer for me. I've flown a lot recently. I'm using these Raycons in the airplane. I love them. So if you want to get Raycons, go to buyraycon.com/NDQ to get 15% off your order. It's that simple. You're going to like them. They're cost efficient, high quality products. I really enjoy them.
Did you see they've got like that rose gold color now?
Yeah.
But I like that color.
Yeah.
It's like that cell phone, lightly metallic, kind of pinkish color. And my wife, she's hustling around doing way more stuff, busier days right now because of the season and all of that. I thought maybe some rose gold Raycons would make sense for her.
I'm the classic blue guy. Like I like the blue. The silver's also nice, but for me, the blue is really cool. I've been using Raycons for a long time now. I was watching a video that I shot with Brady Heron, our good friend. It was on his YouTube channel, Objectivity, and I noticed I was using Raycons to talk to Brady in the video. That was really cool. So I love these things.
Just as a quick heads up, speaking of Brady, you might want to check in on what's going on with your Twitter. I feel like we might be abusing your absence, and I don't want to say exactly how, but it might be with childhood pictures of you. You just might want to go check, is all I'm saying.
Oh, that's great. I was really hoping she would do that. So that's it. Yeah, we would be grateful if you would consider supporting the sponsor. You can do that by going to buyraycon.com/NDQ and get 15% off your order.
Yep, you get massive battery life. They look cool. They can handle abuse. They've been with me for a long time. The price point is right. If you haven't tried Raycon, we think you're going to love them. Again, you can go to buyraycon.com/NDQ to get 15% off your Raycon order.
Thank you so much.
Well, you started the conversation with the topic of free speech and free speech absolutism, which I'm pretty dang close to. I think you should be able to sue someone if they lie or are in breach of contract through deception. If you could make a very just absolutely surefire case that someone used words to manipulate people toward like their death, like, oh yeah, I'll take that picture for you. Like you're pulling a prank, like, just the whole family move right just a little bit. The whole family right just a little bit more. One more step right. Ha ha ha. They fall off a cliff. I think you probably bear some sort of culpability for a move like that, even though you just used words to do the damage. There's direct, measurable, tangible, willful damage being done there. And at the minimum, a civil suit should hold up in that situation. And maybe that's a criminal suit situation as well. But I have to think way outside the box to get to a place where I'm like, hey, I think the state should use the power of the sword to decide what speech is preferred and what speech is not. I really like the idea of the old school rock star, the court jester, even if you will, the critic who the old Athenians allowed to hang around in their best years, whose entire job was just criticize the thing, the ombudsman, the old tradition within journalistic outlets where you have somebody whose entire job is to critique the words that you are using there. There's something incredibly valuable about having that role in society protected and preserved. It's part of why I'm very troubled by how comedians are being treated of late. Comedians need to be able to make fun of Jesus of Nazareth. They need to be able to make fun of me going to church. They need to be able to make fun of my dumb, bald head and my odd posture when I play sports too long and get tight. They need to be able to make fun of my speech patterns and the things that are screwy about me. And they also need to be able to make fun of everyone for all of their stuff. It's good for society for us all to be mocked. Everyone, everything. Mockery is not something we want to dominate our conversation, but there is a role for it and there is a purpose in society to that I think is historically demonstrated to be good for us and for culture at large. So yeah, I'm really into the free speech thing. My question for you is, are we even talking about a free speech issue when we discuss word filters that you and I build on our videos, or is this something different?
It's obviously different. However, I see a lot of criticism of these platforms like YouTube, Facebook, all this, when they say, hey, well, you're violating my free speech. And that gets back to what you were saying at the beginning when you said the right to associate with others. Also, this is a business. Like, these platforms are businesses, and they get to design their system. And, you know, it's an opt-in kind of thing. But when you opt into their rules.
And their rules could become draconian and oppressive. Their rules could, and have at times, given them disproportionate control over the narrative. That's been abused. So I understand why people don't like it, but you got to think beyond the moment. As soon as somebody starts to be like, yeah, the other side does that. If you think beyond the moment, even 5 seconds, and you start looking back through even recent history before the sides flipped or anything like that, no, people who have the upper hand politically tend to like to keep it, and they will use whatever means they have to sound very noble and enlightened while inhibiting and making it very difficult for one set of ideas to be articulated and making it very easy for their set of ideas to be articulated. So there's no high horse to be had on this issue.
How easy would it be for you? Let's say you had very strong opinions about specific potato fertilizers. Let's try.
I don't. Good example of a thing I don't.
I'm trying to pick the most generic, non-confrontational thing ever.
Okay, good. I see what you're doing.
How easy would it be for you to go into this filter and make it so only one set of ideas would be promoted in your comment section?
Oh, yeah. If my favorite potato fertilizer is potato be growing, all I have to do is not block that. And if my least favorite is rectoprocto potato ticks, then all I got to do is go and block rectoprocto potato ticks, and it's going to absolutely fail. It is one word entered in one box, and it looks like everybody believes in my thing and everybody hates the other one, which I believe we agree is called rectoprocto potato tricks.
Ticks, yeah. Ticks, get it right.
My bad.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a tremendous amount of power, which I think means the comment section doesn't mean a whole lot anymore. So,
yeah, but people haven't caught on to that yet.
No, they
means
haven't.
The comment does still mean something, but gradually people will figure out it doesn't. It's like, oh man, I used to do this one day of lecture in my U.S. History 2 course where I'd put a lot of emphasis on people's history, cultural history, things like that. I mean, obviously you're going to get the broad strokes, World War I, World War II, Hitler bad, all the obvious stuff. You got to cover that. But you can really cover that pretty quickly, and you can let the reading do a lot of the heavy lifting there. The lectures, I wanted to be stuff that would help people understand that we didn't just appear in an intellectual vacuum out of nowhere. We went through a bunch of cycles to get to the things you see every day on TV, on the internet, whatever. And so I would do this one lecture on the history of advertising. And I would talk about the advent of early magazines in the late 19th century and the opportunities that this provided for advertisers. And one of the things that I would bring up, and I don't have it in front of me, it's been a long time since I did this one, but was data to demonstrate how effective early print advertising was in this new medium. People would see it. And they would be like, dang, I got to buy the thing. Look at the picture. It just proves the thing. And now we go back and we look at old ads from the early 20th century, like the 1950s with the housewives, or, like, babies should smoke. Look at this baby.
Right.
It's growing hair on its chest and it's only 1.5. Like, oh, that I would want my baby to smoke. That worked.
You do this. This is the healthiest cigarette, like that.
Right. And we laugh at it. Oh, you're so stupid. But here's the advantage we have. We've been around that kind of advertising long enough to realize that nothing you say there is true. It's all a lie. When the vouch is bought, the vouch doesn't mean anything. We can see through it. Stuff means stuff. We're not there yet with the comment section. So people go and say things, and somehow naively we still believe that it carries weight somehow, or it matters, or like, oh, dang, I feel despair. That's reflective of how reality is. Look, all the comments agree. When in reality, there's going to be a generation not far from now who looks at that and they're like, comments are like, they're a joke. You cannot get any sense of consensus, in the same way we make fun of smoking for babies or housewives or whatever in the 1950s print ads.
You know what this reminds me of?
Tell me.
It's actually a very complicated thing. When an animal is hurt, like a wild animal is hurt, in the state of Alabama, there is a website you can go to, and you can be like, I found and it literally is like, if you have a squirrel, you can go see this person in this county. If you have a possum, you can go to this person in this county. And
Really?
there are these rehabilitation locations for wildlife that have been damaged. And the more I started looking into it, the more I realized these places can't take all these hurt squirrels that these 13-year-old boys found and want to get helped. Or like this lady that hit a rabbit in Sumter County and she's wanting to save it. It's illegal to take in a wild animal and try to help it, but it's a natural thing because people care to take an animal, put it in a little cardboard box with a towel and some little water, and then call the phone number. Yeah, lettuce. Call the phone number and take it to the place and deliver it. And what you'll find when you reach these people is that they can't do a whole lot for these animals. However, the state still allows this to happen because people need an emotional outlet for that type of thing. Mm-hmm. Like it's a thing where it's like, I don't know. I went really, really far down the broken rabbit hole. and so I realized, oh, this is all theater. All of this is theater. You have this program that exists, and it's not like the old Andy Griffith winking, blinking, and nod. Do you remember that, where Opie shoots it's a Southern thing. So there's this, the Andy Griffith show. Opie used his BB gun, and he shot a mama bird, and there were 3 birds in the nest. Winking, blinking, and nod is what he named them.
Like the old rhyme.
Yeah, and Andy made Opie raise these birds with an eyedropper or whatever. And so that's kind of what we think in our head is going on. But ultimately, if you take in a wild animal and you nurse it to health, you're going to damage the animal. And so it's not in the best interest of the animal. The best thing for the wild population of armadillos,
straight in the crematorium,
is to let that one die. Yeah, that's the best thing in the big picture. However, in the comment section, you watch a video and you have a strong emotional reaction. You need an outlet. There has to be an outlet for people to comment. I need that outlet, right? Sometimes it's not in the best interest of the I don't know what I'm thinking here, but I just think it's very, very interesting. And
that's it's almost a whole other conversation, but it's an important one. The idea of an outlet is something that is very frowned upon. But the way I came to peace with living in Las Vegas, no, I never came to peace with it. I really didn't. I left. I came to peace with it after I was there, I suppose. But I realized eventually, I kind of appreciate this place. Didn't like it much when I was there. But what I appreciate is it represents an outlet. You sort of need an island of lost boys. It would be best if that island was in the middle of a desert so it wouldn't leak into other culture very much. So it really would feel like a completely different thing. You still want to have some parameters on it, but you want people to feel like it is the island of lost boys. And like you could just go crazy here. But you can't, because every casino has massive security forces who will dramatically enforce their rules behind closed doors. You got a serious police force. It is a very heavily regulated place, very heavily governed place, but they want to create the illusion of, no, it's not. This is Sin City. What happens here stays here. So what role does that play? Well, we live in a very civilized society, theoretically, where people get in their metal box, and then they drive to their metal box, and they work at their metal box, and they pull up real close to someone in another metal box and get a coffee from them real quick, but try not to touch, and bring the coffee into their metal box, and they drive home and they park in their metal box, and they watch shows in their metal box, and they sleep in their metal box, and they wash, rinse, repeat. Now people lose their minds a little bit. Maybe you do need an outlet for some of those more self-destructive impulses, but it's far enough away and it costs enough money and it hurts enough when you do it that outlet only exists for it's only sustainable for a very small amount of time. And so there it is. Sometimes I think the outlet is historically, it's a trade-off for something that would be worse. I don't know if I'm sold on the same idea that the comment section achieves that. I don't know. Why do I go read the comments, though? Maybe you have a point.
I've been edified quite a bit. I've been... Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the held for review ones. And this is a comment that got blocked that made me laugh. It was the Weed Eater versus Weed Eater video I did a while back. And and part of the video was you pick which one you think's going to win. And you watch the video to see if you win, and somebody is like cursing that they lost, but they did it in a really funny way. I don't know, man. I have received a lot of positive edification from the comment section, and I'm grateful for that. I wish there was an efficient way to go through and filter out the good from the bad. And I think the filter mechanisms that we've arrived at here 20 years into the internet proper, I'll say, into the widespread. No, we're probably 30 years into the big internet, I think this is kind of the best we have at the moment, and it's not perfect, but it's interesting every once in a while just to stop and think about how comment filtering works. We're not there. I don't know that we ever can be there to a good system without actually having humans on, reviewing every comment. And so, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about this with you, and I appreciate the Las Vegas comment. I don't know how much I agree, but it's worth thinking about.
I wish that I had said the comment you just said about how much you've been edified by the comment section first, because now it feels like I'm copying. It's just a knee-jerk thing. Every woman on a sitcom complains about their husbands. Just knee-jerk. It's what wives on sitcoms do. Complain about your husbands. Every content creator I know complains about the comment section. It's just what you do, because that's where the stupid stuff happens. But it's so rare. If it was all the stuff that we complain about, we'd just shut it down entirely and not even care about the consequences of that. But it's so overwhelmingly good. It's so overwhelmingly helpful and edifying and useful. Or usually at worst in any given comment section, it's just value neutral, whatever. And that's at worst. Yeah, I wish I'd said your thought first, because I really do agree with that. It's been overwhelmingly great, and it's one of the best sources of feedback, the best ways that it feels like a give and take with people on the internet that somebody who does what you and I do get to have access to. So I really appreciate that impulse and that corrective.
So the action I'm going to take as a result of this conversation is when you and I started, there was a conversation about a comment, and I told you about it, and I was like, I'm going to go and reply like this. I think I'm going to go delete that now. I don't know. Do I want to delete it? I don't know.
I don't think the comment in question is mean. I think what you're doing is checking thoughtlessness with reason. There was a time very recently where I think most people were just doing I just don't want to get into it with anybody on the internet. It's better just not to disagree. But then the most pugnacious among us set the tone for all of conversation, because the rest of us were just like trying to be chill and hoping they'd get over it. And they haven't. And now it's becoming normative to conduct oneself that way. The state of discourse has moved in a negative direction. So I don't know. I'm more of a mind at this point to be like, yeah, I'm just going to succinctly check that with a little bit of Laconian wit or my attempt at it and see if I can push back on some of the things that I don't think are great ideas.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. I think I'm going to start engaging in the comment section more, but I'm going to try to do it in an intelligent, respectful way. I think it's important to not just give up and just let the loud, angry people win. And I recently kind of hid behind this little words filtering mechanism here. And I think you're right. I think I think the silent majority who are just cool people who appreciate things, but just allow the drunk uncle at the party to just ramble. I think it's time for the good, smart people to slowly wake up and participate in a way that's like an adult. Like, okay, cool, that's great, but, that's not true. And then just say truth and love and then back away. And then it's going to be clear who's, the angry, belligerent person and who's the thinker. I think it's time for that to start happening more in general. I don't know. That's where I'm at.
What is shrewd, what is societally wise for how we conduct ourselves, in some ways it's very consistent and certain things never change. In other ways, what is shrewd changes with time and circumstances. And you and I have been interneting long enough, citizens of the internet long enough, to understand that stuff means stuff. Things mean different things at different times. And if I went back in time to 2012, I think there's a way to conduct yourself on the internet. There's stuff that needs to be spoken to or just let slide, cut people slack, give them time. And I think that list is very different than right now as we're recording this. For everything, there's a season. For everything, there's a time. And I am feeling the impulse to engage a bit differently on the internet right now as well. In the book of Matthew, which is what we've been working on every day in my daily podcast that I do, in chapter 10, Matthew 10, 16.
10-minute Bible Hour podcast. Got it.
Right. There's this moment where Jesus has all these rookie disciples. I mean, they don't even know the religion yet because the religion isn't even really articulated yet. And despite them all being completely green and not even totally getting it, Jesus sends them all out with this message. He's like, just go to villages and tell people to repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand. Well, what does that mean? I don't know. It's a lot to think about. And these guys didn't really totally know what they were doing. They go out, and then Jesus is like, here's what's going to happen when you go out. But also, you're going out like sheep among wolves. So be as shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. That is becoming a guiding principle for me. Not one that I'm saying I execute properly or get right, but it's really stuck with me because innocent as doves is the timeless half of it. You can't embrace evil to combat evil. You can't embrace cruelty to fight cruelty. There's certain moral standards of how you treat people and what you do. But shrewdness, that's the contextual side. That's the read the room side. That's the know your moment side. And so he's telling his guys.
I just Googled the definition for shrewd: having or showing sharp powers of judgment, astute.
And so there are things that I would say to one person that I think would help the conversation. But if I say the exact same words to another person, it is a train wreck. And therefore, it's not just the words and the sounds your mouth makes when you say those words. It's understanding that stuff means stuff and the situational consequences of what you're about to say. Is it strategic? Is it smart? That's the shrewdness side. And that is going to evolve and change over time as circumstances changes and as the conversation changes. I'm leaning more and more into that in my internet travels and in thinking about the role I play on planet Earth. I want to be both of those things, innocent and shrewd.
So being shrewd means you have to have an understanding of what the culture is doing at the time. Mm-hmm. So it's not a call to retract and not engage. It's a call to be clever about how you engage. Is that
unless
would you agree?
The shrewd move is to punt. At times, The shrewd move is to say 4th and 25, I'm just kicking the ball away. The shrewd move is to say, there is no positive outcome here from me engaging with this, not for that other person, not for me. I'm just going to take the L and I'm going to step back. Shrewd could mean don't engage.
Interesting. You went Bible. Can I go Bible?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's a verse I really like. It's in Philippians. I'm looking it up. Philippians 4:8, and it says, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any excellence," which I know you're not supposed to modify the Bible, but I'm going to modify it. And for me, it's going to be like this. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, comment about these things. I think that's going to be my strategy. In terms of the shrewdness, do you think that gets it done? Or do you think, I don't know, just respond to that?
Well, you got to have clarity on what you're trying to accomplish. So what am I trying to accomplish on the internet?
Edify others is what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and one of the chief ways I want to do that is invite other people into my curiosity. Effectively, that's all my YouTube channel is. I'm one of these weird true believers who is not cynical yet, and I'm honestly asking questions. I'm honestly wanting to understand the world better and the abstract world better. I honestly really think that something started all of this, that there is a deity behind existence. But I don't know everything about such an entity. I want to know better. So for me, my big goal on the internet is edify people by inviting them into honest curiosity with me, and we'll just go where it goes and see what happens. I got other goals as well. I want to promote values that I think are good for everybody, regardless of political preference. Just certain, maybe better word than values would be virtues that I think will make everybody's life better. So yeah, I have other agendas and things like that, but I want to be redemptive. But I can't just wade out into the internet like a rube and start yelling things like the wildly ineffective street preacher who just shouts at the wind and is ignored. That person is innocent, but they're not shrewd. Shrewd means if I want to accomplish noble things, I have to figure out how, and something that provides a likelihood of success. There's got to be a game plan. And if what you're trying to accomplish involves other people and positively affecting other people, then you have to understand, at least to some extent, the people you're talking with. And that's why I can't go around deleting all of their comments preemptively with an overly long blocked words list. I need to change how I'm doing that.
I appreciate that. And I also appreciate that you're the kind of friend that I can start with this really super silly conversation about silly words, and then we end up in a place like this. So I enjoyed these conversations, man. It certainly edifies me, to use a term that we just used, and I appreciate all your comments.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing this up. I had no idea where we were going. You did not prep me on this conversation at all. So it's one of those real friend conversations that wends and winds around. And I felt like I was going to need to defend some sort of intellectual turf. And then what ends up happening is you take me through a simple exercise and I realize, my strategy isn't quite as shrewd as I thought. I need to re-examine it. And I wasn't there when we started the conversation. So thank you, as always, for having an effect on me in that way, making me think about who I am and what I'm doing.
I'll end with one blocked word from my list. With a 0 instead of the O. Apparently somebody was trying to slide it through the filter.
Okay, I get one more to conclude with as well. I'm going to be very, very selective here. Okay, the blocked word I would like to conclude with is...
All right, buddy. I appreciate it.
Likewise, pal.